When I throw on bats, and then I put a pad down. I just roll out a pad as if I'm making a plate, and I put ridges in it, and I'm using these rigid plastics, and it's just a contact. Just a little bit of moisture, not much, it'll slide right off. What I'm making here is a casserole base, which I weigh out by poundage. This is 4 1/4 pound base. So this will be a covered casserole. The base is 4 1/4. I want to make sure I leave at least a 1/4 inch in that base. When I throw, I try as much as I can to throw with slip. Slip doesn't tend to penetrate the clay wall. I never use water if I can help it, and the more I throw, the more slip I create. So I'm able to coat that interior and exterior clay wall to keep that strong. Keep that wall strong. And notice I'm leaving this rim fairly thick. And I roll it over. The whole idea is to go down and grab that base in an effort to make that uniform wall. Key to throwing is to keep that clay wall from absorbing any moisture at all. So that when I'm putting this on the surface, I'm taking that slip off. In so doing, I further strengthen that wall. So once I get my relative width, I'll go ahead and measure this. I don't take it to the very inside, I take it down right till it starts dropping. So that when I make my lid, it's going to be at an angle and it will sit down there and fit the interior of that size and have a perfect fit. So once I get the width established, I try to leave that. Now I can come in and trim that base. The less I trim when I'm finished throwing, or the more I trim on the wheel, the less I'll trim off the wheel. Trimming is takes as long as it does to throw the piece. So I'm going to try to limit that if I can. Now, this is all about shaping. I want it full. So anything I can do to open up this form and keep it arch-like will be better for its thermal capacity. Sometimes shapes have a lot to do with ability to take thermal shock. A sphere is always going to take better thermal shock or have better thermal shock characteristics, whereas a plate will have weak. I think I'm going to pull that out a little bit. One of the things I don't want to do is after I've shaped it, I don't have much opportunity to stretch. That rim, because it'll put some stress on that shape. I like that. So that's the base. A little bit of water on already existing dry clay. Now I'll be making a lid for this casserole. The casserole base was 4 1/4 pounds, and believe it or not, just the lid is 3 1/4. Knowing sizes relative to weight is an important tool when you're doing a series of pieces. So this is almost like making a plate, where I'm using a fist to settle that down in the middle. The idea is to keep that in a more bowl form, concentrating on not to make that inside too thin. At stoneware temperatures, 2350 degrees, clay, if not kept in an arch form, will try to dip. So you'll have an arch form that has a little dip on that top when it's fired. Now you'll notice I'll leave this rim fairly thick. In fact, I'll even thicken it. And I can do that just by doing a little split finger right there. Everything in throwing is really about support. Now that I've got that rim kind of sort of established, I can come in and start pulling that outward while leaving that rim thick. And just as an idea, we'll start to realize that that's how much I've got to open it up. And you'll see in a sec how that starts to take shape. Now as that gets wider, I'll have to be mindful of opening this rim up. I can come in here to the right, obviously I'm on the right side of it, but I want to split finger that rim and create this flange. You can see now I only have to go maybe another inch and a quarter, inch and a half. So I'm coming back in and I'm just taking my inside hand, rolling it over this long piece of my index finger and essentially pulling it out. As I get further to the end, I'm getting a little closer. And you can see the extreme cantilever I can get with this clay. And I'm almost there. And I think we've got it. You can see that cantilever.